At last the wind has stopped, so let me show you the world. There are the big fluffy clouds and clearly lots of leaves on the cherry tree. And yeah, that's north, and that's where the aeroplane's flying, probably up to Auckland or somewhere halfway up the island, who knows. And let's look at what's happening in the garden. We have leucalia flowers. Now this, you may laugh about. See how this thing has got lots and lots of flower heads on, right? Heaps of flower heads. And, but the thing is they're all sticky, right? And so I always thought, g'day Mike! I always thought that when all the leaves fell off and you just had these red points on the sticks, that was the time to prune them. I've been doing that for years. And now, because I got not exactly lazy, I just decided not to, I discovered that I've been cutting off the flowers for as long as I've had this bush. Crying out loud. So, you know, that's the flowers starting to happen. So that's pretty exciting. Can you see in the back there's a big white blob? We'll see more of them later, but anyway, that's my funny leucalia story. And we have some Japanese anemones. There'll be more numerous later. This is always a monstrous thing. This is the willow gentian, and it's not got buds on it yet, but it won't be long. Actually, they're just starting. See those little green things that stick up? Connection's a bit bumpy, I'm sorry. And here we are, we've got some late roses. Oh, that's so perfect. And we have the fuchsia bush, which is loving having more light because I cut down the tree that was shading it. And the very last of the white thalictrum, which I need to prune down. So, what else have we got? Some late sweetheart roses. Oh, the light's not brilliant, I'm afraid. Let me see. Shade is better. There you go. Now you can see it. It's a beautiful thing. Very old rose. Oh, and look, we have some wild coriander, which is good because if you let it run to seed, you're never without it. The tail end of the foxglove. I mean, this is the plant, but we have a few of the flowers too. I had a holiday from my garden, and you can actually tell it's not quite as tidy as it would be if I hadn't had a holiday, but the holiday was wonderful. There's me. Oh, there's my hand in front of the camera. But the orchida never fails to be beautiful. More coriander and dahlias and the odd miniature rose. Yes, I know it's a funny place to leave a coriander plant growing, but it was the only one, and I don't want to be short of seed. Although I see there's more. So that's good. I'll probably pull it out before it runs to seed and let the other ones do it. This is the thing I wanted to show you before we run out of time to ramble. And it's past its best, but look, we've got lilies. That's the nicest one. Hello, Murray. It's lovely to see you. And you can see inside. Look at that. You just have to imagine the scent. The scent is amazing. This is Lilium regale, obviously, the regal lily. And it is an amazing, amazing thing. And look, there's another one over there. So, yes. Huge. I mean, really, those stems are about 1 metre long, 3 feet longer. And there's another one that's coming up later. So, there you go. And let's not forget this golden chamomile, feverfew. It's just lovely when it flowers like this. And then I have to cut the flowers off as soon as they die, otherwise you get a million babies, and it's a bit scary. All right, and you've seen the gladiolus because they all fell over in the wind, and they're inside. Although actually, I will show you this because it's so lovely to see it in person, so to speak. I don't know if I can get it in focus though. No, the camera's not going to do a particularly good job of that, but there you go. That's the wild, wonderful one. All right, so let me get on topic today. And I feel a little bit brave branching into this. I haven't really talked about the whole process of what I'm personally doing and what I know a lot of people do with actually using your mind to change your body. But one of you has asked some really good questions and raised some pain points, and not specifically said talk about it this way, but I just decided, because today is Feedback Friday. Oh my God, I've just found another way to make it alliterate. I don't know what Thursday it really is yet, and I don't know what Wednesday is, because Wednesday is about pain points, and I don't want to call it Whinge Wednesday, okay? But Friday is Feedback Friday, and nobody's given me any success stories or failure stories or problems, challenges, feedback stories, but just in responding to you, in the process of going through my notifications and seeing who's saying what, I realised, this is what I want to talk about, because we many of us, not everybody, many of us have been or will be in the situation of wanting to be healthier, and maybe there's a health condition going on, you don't feel so good, whatever it is, however long it's been going on for, whether it's just steady or it's slowly getting worse or slowly getting better, let's not ignore that possibility. And you go to the doctor, or rather you get some blood tests or whatever it is you do, and the results are not what you wanted, let's just call it that. And by the way, I'm on the stance too. I have my own things to heal. They're not very scary now. They were at one stage for me. Really, mostly in my mind. Scary possibilities, but most things have scary possibilities if you dwell on them. And I had to overcome my fear. And I changed it. I'm turning it around. I'm going to get some more blood test results soon. And I know what they're going to tell me. I do. So, just to let you know, I know what this is like. Many of us know what this is like, and it's this journey of, well, I'm changing my diet, and I'm exercising, and I'm thinking positively, and I'm doing everything I know how to do, and I go and get my test results, and the bloody thing hasn't turned around. What the is going on? And it can be very disheartening and discouraging, and you look at yourself and you think, shit, my parents have these problems, and it's like you're watching a train wreck in slow motion and you feel utterly powerless to stop it. That feeling, right? Because like I say, I know a little bit what this is like. And that's the feeling that I kind of got from this beautiful post that a friend and I have been conversing on this post and the conversation, and I thought, well, that's what I'm going to talk about today. So, this business of genetic inheritance, right? You get a lot of conditions that people say, oh, well, it's genetic, it happens as you age, all of that stuff. The chronic conditions, I'm not talking about having a piano fall on your head or, an accident. I'm talking about the things that just slowly encroach into our lives and gradually get worse, and and you think, where the hell does that come from, and what is this thing about genetics running in families? Because for a long time we were told that it's in your family, roll over, get used to it, that's how it is, you can just expect this to happen. But as you know, and I've talked about this a lot, or you may not know if you're new to this space, I've talked about this a lot, and I will continue talking about it because it's my journey and I know it's true and I see it happening and working for many and for me too. It turns out that when you think a thought, when you repetitively think a thought, that thought fires a particular set of synapses, and the frequency of the thought means that a certain variety of neurotransmitters is used to jump the synapses to get the message across that neural network. And those neurotransmitters mean that your hypothalamus instructs your pituitary to send chemical messages to your hormonal centres, and you have a feeling. That's what happens every time we think a thought, because every thought has some kind of emotion associated with it, because every neurotransmitter signals the body. You can't think a thought without signalling your body somehow, right? And that chemistry, if you repetitively think the same thought, you're going to repetitively have the same chemistry, which means you repetitively feel the same feelings, and you repetitively give your cells the same instructions. Now, if those instructions actually have a physical effect on your cells, and they do, then maybe maybe it's not that, oh, your parents had multiple sclerosis, therefore you're going to have it. And by the way, there are studies that have been done with twins who have identical DNA and don't get the same diseases. So what's with that? Hi, Jen! Hi, Heather! Maybe what happens is that you automatically, unconsciously absorb from your parents and other important influences in your early life particularly, but later on as well, or there's a very stressful event and then you just habitually get stuck in that state of being. That's different though, although it can push the genetic buttons for disease, absolutely. These predispositions come because we learn unconsciously to think and feel the same way our parents do. Or our caregivers, or, important people in our lives, or even siblings. But siblings also learn from parents. So I'm not parent bashing, because parents, of course, had the same 7 years of being in delta and theta, having no analytical mind to say, this is crap, I don't want to think and feel like this, to absorb what their parents unconsciously absorbed from their parents, unconsciously absorbed from their parents. This, by the way, is where the ancestral crap comes from. It's not some hooey-fluey, airy-fairy, energetic thing, although you can feel it in the energy. At the physical level, the cells have been habitually signalled by the ancestors for so long that those patterns of thinking, to some degree, are hardwired in the brain. The fetus gets signalled to think like that, because we do get hardwired neural nets passed down from our parents, and therefore the chemistry and everything that goes with them. We have a propensity to be, feel, think, behave a certain way. That's part of how it happens. And then there's everything that happens after we're born, and what the choices we make and the experiences we have and all that. So you may have a propensity for something, but that doesn't mean you have to embrace it and be it and think it and do it and feel it the same way as your parents and their parents before them have done it. You keep on signalling the gene the same way. Good morning, Carrie Ann! Well, that's how it happens. So then you think, oh shit, okay, I got the medical results and they're not what I want. And this was a massive lesson that I really only figured out. Alicia, good morning! I really only figured this out last year. Late last year. I don't know what it was that made me twig. Blood test results, scans, whatever, they are feedback. They are not a prognosis. They do not tell me what my future is. And I'm passionate about this. They tell me what I've done up until the point that that observation was made. They are absolutely about who I've been up until that point in time. They are not about who I'm going to become. Now, of course, doctors are trained by the law of averages and by their experience and by what the literature says and the research, and never mind whether that's right or wrong or indifferent, doesn't matter. They are trained to say, well, you have these results and this is what we would expect to happen. They do that, right? That's what you want them to do. However, there's a problem. And now I'm just quoting Joe Dispenza because I've heard him say it so often and it's so true. At the moment at which you get a diagnosis, right, whatever it is, what do you feel? What do you feel? The chances are you're going to feel angry or afraid, or some combination thereof. Or you're just going to go, into some level of trauma, which I can absolutely remember doing when I realised I didn't need a doctor to tell me. I thought, oh, there's a bloody great lump in my breast. I've got a cyst there. I mean, I knew it must be a cyst because it just appeared overnight. It was just boom. Oh, bless you, Carrie. It's a big question, and there'll be many people who will, enough said. Bless you. So, and my body went into a trauma response. It was just shock, and, I diagnosed myself. I knew it wasn't cancer. And I never had, no longer an issue. Long story. But I remember this, and for many people, when they get the diagnosis or the prognosis, there's a point at which you feel shock, anger, or sadness, or some mixture of all of that. And right then, the doctor says, whatever he says, she says, about how it's going to be. And those words are equal to the feeling that you're feeling, which is fear. You know, you're in survival, right? You're fearful or angry or sad. You are feeling survival emotions. What happens... Oh yeah, I'm not talking about the all clear, which is great, Abigail. You're right, you can get that. But when you get a negative diagnosis, let me clarify that. Thank you. What happens when you are in survival, your frontal lobe shuts down. You are no longer thinking analytically. You are the animal who is only going to run or fight or freeze. That's it. Those are your choices. And so because your analytical mind is not online anymore because you're in shock and you're in stress or whatever it is, whatever that doctor says about what your future's going to contain can go right into your subconscious mind because you're not there to disagree with it. And then you program your autonomic nervous system to make that absolutely happen. It's like, bloody hell. And if you do not believe me, go and listen to Joe Dispenza, because this is exactly what he says. And ultimately, and then it becomes this thing that the emotion of that moment is what you actually have to overcome if you're going to get better. You know, not only did I get these results, but these results mean that. And now, you know, and so the cycle of thinking and feeling just becomes more and more, and you have to overcome that. So, winding back a bit, I obviously needed to say that because now I forgot. I know there's an extra piece that I want to talk about. But the thing that creates it is the fact that we are programmed, however it happens, to think and feel automatically like our parents. Because we can't not. And they couldn't not. And their parents couldn't not. That's just what happens. If you want to signal your cells and signal your genes differently by firing different thoughts at a different frequency, which means different neurotransmitters, which means different chemical signals sent to your body, which when it becomes habitual and what you do all the time, must eventually change the epigenetic expression in your cells, and the challenge is you don't know how long it's going to take, and that has to cease to be the thing you focus on. You're going to change that, and you're going to become a different person. And I spoke about that yesterday. And you just don't think and behave like your parents or like whoever it was. And you do have to unlearn the fears. And it's very challenging because it's unconscious, it's subconscious. When we learn these basic patterns and ways of being, never mind if we actually inherited them, because we do inherit some of them. No excuse, because any synaptic connection can be pruned apart. It's just that if it's hardwired, it's going to take longer. It's going to take more work. It's going to take effort. So yeah, and the medical conditions absolutely can start us down a road to fear, or they can start us down a road to healing. And often the road to fear actually is what takes you to healing. So, you know, we get our wake-up call. Hello, how long are you going to keep on habitually embracing this state of being before you find a way to change it? And we don't necessarily know how. Now I do know how. So, this is the process. We learn it, and then we live it unconsciously, and it signals our cells in exactly the same way as our parents and their parents and their parents and their parents. And I mean, I see this just with one of my beautiful colleagues, and he's a gorgeous man. But I know that he's European. I won't say anything more specific about that. I know that his lineage is European, even though he grew up in New Zealand, because my lineage is European. And I hear some of the ways that he talks and the automatic reactions that he doesn't even see. And I think, oh my God, he's just so like my parents and my grandparents. And I have had to unprogram myself from those same ways of being. So I recognise them with compassion because it's who I used to be. We do have to unlearn. So, yeah, now this is the piece. I've remembered the third piece. Thank God for my visual memory. I've got 2 minutes. So, when you're going through this process of wanting to turn this battleship around, right? It's a big ship, and it is a bit like you're in a war, although you don't really want to be thinking about being at war with yourself. But it is like turning a huge ship around. Let's say it's a cruise ship. That's better. You want to turn the ship around from being this habitual thing that's got this epigenetic expression and created this life, and you want to go point yourself in a different direction. And so you're doing the work and you're starting to think and feel differently, and yet you still get shitty blood test results, or nothing appears to be changing in your life. And there is this gap that's opening up between who you are when you're doing your internal work, or when you're walking through your life and you're pretending to be that person and you're really starting to feel it. And then, you turn around or you go back home or you get your next set of blood test results and nothing appears to have changed, right? That gap, that conflict, where the hell is my stuff? What's going on? Why hasn't it changed? One of the things that I remind myself and I remind other people, again, because I've heard Joe say it, because he's a smart guy and he's worked this out, how long have you been signalling the gene the old way? If you've been feeling fear for 40 years, do you think it might take you 1 or even 2 years to unprogram yourself? And would that be worth it? Would it be worth the process of overcoming yourself day by day? We have to, because it's so easy to be unconscious and go back and, just continue to be who we are. It's dead easy to be who we're used to being. But how much do I love my future? Do I love my future enough to continually keep on overcoming my past, even though it's in my face and I'm scared that I'll never do it, or I don't have enough time, or I'm going to die first, or whatever it is? Well, I can tell you from my own experience is that the better you get at overcoming the emotion in the moment of how you feel about, oh my God, the brain is off in tomorrow, next week and next month saying, oh, I'm going to get sicker and it's not going to get better. And if I come back to now and I refuse to race off into the future or go back to the past and say, oh, I couldn't do it before, I can't, that's a thought in the past. Fear about the future is not here. If I can come back to here and overcome my emotions right in this moment, and get into a place of heart coherence, of just brain coherence, which is peace. Heart coherence is joy. Brain coherence is just wholeness and peace. If I can do 1 or 2 of those, because you get one, you soon enough get the other, right in this moment, I'm sending a different signal to my cells. And in this moment, I get to choose what signal I send to my cells. And that for me is the work, is yanking myself out of the future and out of the past. Sometimes it really is that hard. And other times it's easy because I don't have massive amounts of triggers in my environment saying, you're going to die, one way or another. That's ultimately what we're scared of. Whatever we're scared of, relationship, job, blah, 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 whatever it is. Ultimately, we're in survival and feeling like we're going to die. And just, become who you choose to be, and then if you can shift your state even a little bit towards who you want to be, you're sending a different signal to your cells. And if you keep doing that, what happens is you get to the point where you are in that state of being so much that you just don't care. And I know this sounds ridiculous, but you don't care about your condition or your lack of money or your lack of a relationship or your lack of purposeful work or anything anymore. You just don't care because you are already in the state of being that you think you need that whatever it is to feel. And I've experienced this, and I experience it more and more. And of course, the more I feel like I already have what I desired, the more I do, and the more my body is getting that signal, and so it's going to catch up with me. Do you see? This is the gnarly part, is actually coming into the present moment, forgetting about the prognosis and all that fear that programmed me to believe this is my destiny and I can't avoid it, coming into now and somehow changing my state so that I feel abundant, healed, whole, loved, purposeful, mystified and blessed, whatever, now, independent of everything else. That's the challenge. That is the challenge. So I know I'm out of time, and I thank you for your comments. I just love the conversation. Look forward to replying to them. This is going to be an amazing year, because it already is, and I look forward to sharing it with you. Oh, I nearly forgot! Robin, it's lovely to see you. I'm creating a new neural net. I said that on Thursday there were going to be notices. I forgot. This morning I put this big red thing in the email to say notices. The only notice that I have at this point is that I did a holiday. I've created a slideshow of all the snaps I took over the holiday. I'm going to put that up so you can see what you would normally miss. And look out for it. Okay? I don't even know when I'll do it. It might be today. It might be next week. But look out for it. It's coming. Big love. Thank you so much for being with me today. Mwah. Yeah, it is powerful medicine. This is how powerful we are. You know it. Love you. Bye-bye.